and how we can convene, the world's best innovators and people who are part of the system to help change that.
Well, I think we're getting close to wrapping up. I don't know, Kalali, if we have time for any audience questions.
We have time for
3 questions. And while you're thinking about that and raising your hand, you mentioned Dr. Wessel saying small is hard, and we often talk about, babies and children are not just small adults. I've always thought about turning that around in the sense that adults are really sometimes just big babies and big children.
I've seen that a lot, actually.
And I think I got a sense from the work that was presented this morning is that if you can create something that solves a need for a baby or a child, frequently it has huge ramifications for the adult population or market. And some of the companies, you can sense that they're trying to prove something that maybe Dr. Finkel's work, because I know it. She's trying to solve something that is an intense problem for babies and children, how to measure pain. And if you looked at the market or you talk to people, they'd say, well, why do you need to do that? Adults can tell us what's going on, or we have these pain scores or whatever. But the difficulty in figuring that out in babies and children forced the innovation to try and find objective ways of measuring pain. And then once you do that, then it blows out the market. Oh, of course, well, if we can do it in babies and children, then everybody, we need to measure it objectively or reproducibly in anybody. And I heard that as a constant thing. But it still seems to be a real impediment. How do we break through that thinking to have companies like, big companies like maybe even Johnson & Johnson think differently and see the promise of solving something in a baby or a child and its impact even bigger than that?
Yeah, so turning it inside out. I think that's what's exciting about having JLABS here focused on babies and children. It's about shining a brighter light and bringing a bigger microphone to an issue that people actually probably don't think about very much. So there's not a lot of conversation around it. There's not a lot of focus on it. I mean, I've met Janet, you guys, incredible praise for bringing this to life as the first day for the AdvaMed conference. It's the right thing to do, and yet it's not top of mind. So you know what we want to do? We're going to make it top of mind for everybody. Think about it, doing it that way first. Can we start there first? Or at minimum, as we're thinking about things for adults, what's the possibility of this for our babies and our children? And so, I hope that what we see is a lot more education around this, a lot more awareness around this, a lot more people coming to the table to say this is important. And I think we need to talk to folks about how do we make this more attractive for companies to get into this space. It is a smaller space. So how do we make it a place where business people will say it's worth it to get into that? I think we need to have that conversation too. That's why healthcare policy conversations are just as important as convening the innovators and the investors, et cetera.
And what better place to do that than in Washington, D.C.?
What better place? Exactly.
All right. We have some questions out there, and while you're getting up, I also want to thank AdvaMed for their just passionate support of bringing us all together to think about children differently and develop technology and devices that are great for them. So thank you for that.
Kurt, Melinda, thank you very much. It was a great fireside chat. I'm Chester Coe from Tex Children's. We partner with the JLABS at TMC in Houston, so thank you very much. I guess my question is really about the JLABS, your evolution of it. Do you see it moving towards more focus areas for each of the JLABS? rather than just a geographic center, or what do you think over the next few years for the JLABS program?
Generally, what we do is we have basically the same components in every JLABS, but it tends to evolve based on what happens in that ecosystem. In the Bay Area, for example, because there is so much biotech there, we end up having a lot of biotech there. Like I said, in Toronto, we have a lot of AI there. So I think we're still going to keep it pretty broad in terms of its capabilities, because that's when unique ideas come out, where you have people coming from completely different disciplines who bump into each other and say, oh, I never thought about that. So for example, we had a company in Toronto that did this stickers for kids' skin that would change color as the sunscreen would wear off, so they knew when to reapply the sunscreen. And as they were doing the sticker, this other guy who was doing vaccines said, oh, what a great idea. Why can't we have stickers for vaccines? That would be a transdermal patch that could deliver the shots for babies instead of needles. And it's when you have these very different disciplines that come together where you come up with these transformative approaches. So I think we're always going to have it be pretty broad in terms of the capabilities. It will evolve in that ecosystem, and certainly we're going to have a specific focus here on babies and children. But we might, people might apply with other applications that are not necessarily pediatric focused, but that will be a challenge for them to figure out how to make it pediatric focused.
Hi, this has been an amazing day, I think, and it's really wonderful to hear about your this new opportunity in Washington, D.C. I'm from Australia, so I've travelled a long way to join this, and it's really wonderful to find out about it. I'd only found out through the AdvaMed conference, so you've done the right thing, putting it on the day before, and it's really good to be here getting over my jet lag. My name's Alistair McEwen, so I'm representing the Cerebral Palsy Alliance from Australia. We're the largest funder of cerebral palsy research in the world, started by a family, families with cerebral palsy in Australia 75 years ago. And we run grants of $200,000 over 2 years to get people started, so to get them up to the level where they could be applying for JLABS or in front of VCs or other people. So this is really wonderful to see. My question relates to Pediatric. How early do you see yourself going? So in cerebral palsy, we're starting to see a genomic component. About 30% can be explained genetically. So are you looking at pregnancy? Are you looking at grandmothers? How early are you looking at going?
Sure. We have at J&J this new initiative called the Healthy Baby Initiative. And certainly what we have found, I know that Allison that was doing the microbiome play, we've learned that in pregnancy, the microbiome does affect the baby. The microbiome of the mother affects the baby. So we do think it'll be early. Absolutely. I think...
I heard the father had something to do with it too, but
What's that?
I hear the father has something to do with it as well, but I don't know. I don't want to go into that.
For now.
That's
something else really.
It's an Australian joke. Maybe it's inappropriate, but I'll blame my jet lag.
I'm not touching that.
No, I think you're right. I think it's a continuum that starts very early. So absolutely, all game, all fair game.
One thing I wanted, and thank you for coming all the way from Australia to here. And that's a continent that may need a JLABS, by the way. Not to put any pressure on.
Is that JLABS for dads?
But one of the things that's going to be present on the Children's National on this campus, this Research and Innovation Campus, just a floor or two up from where the JLABS operation is the Children's National Rare Disease Institute that is also there with an organization called NORD, which is the National Organizations of Rare Diseases. So that's going to be co-located there too. So with that genetics research and everything that's being looked at there, I think there will be some natural alliances. One of the things that I think is maybe lost and underestimated, but Irene Thompson is here, who is managing the whole construction and operation of this, is the intentional strategy that Johnson & Johnson puts into the design and layout of the for the companies and the laboratories, but it's designed to create these interactions. So it's no surprise that a sunscreen, I don't know, patch,
Sticker.
then somebody runs into somebody and they're having coffee together, and they're talking about a vaccine application, and an idea goes into a company. We have a terrific set of architects, Elkis Manfredi, Mark's here from them, based here in Boston, and they have been working with Children's National and Johnson & Johnson to make sure that we're incorporating all the latest designs and thought, because there's a lot of research that shows that you can promote collaboration, cooperation, and just thinking through how to create those interactions. So please take a look at and talk to Irene about what's going on, what's going into that, and I think Melinda's been such a passionate advocate for thinking through that type of thing from the beginning. If you go around to laboratories all across the country now, you'll see these concepts, the open.
It's a great point. So we want to create an environment that's an experience for people. So when we first did our first JLABS, I said to the architects, I want you to design this for today's 8th grader. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, I want it to be so modern and relevant that by the time the 8th grader graduates, it's still relevant for them. And therefore, if you're working in a space like this today, you really will believe tomorrow's solutions are possible today. And I also wanted today's 8th grader to walk in there and say, Mom and Dad, this is so cool. How do I get to work in a place like this when I get older? What do I need to take? And as we've done that, we've said, okay, so how do we make this really modern and futuristic and yet still warm and inviting, where you really want to feel like you want to hang out, and very transparent. You can see through to the labs from different places in the office, so you can see the work being done. So it feels very transparent because we're an open innovation concept, no strings attached. And we wanted to have a day look and a night look, so we have lights in the evening that come on and create a different kind of ambiance, because many of you as innovators know you work many long hours of the night. We wanted it to feel good for you no matter what time of day you're there. And we wanted it to be a place where people just felt comfortable hanging out. And so and every single JLABS looks completely different depending on the ecosystem it's in, the building it's in, the surrounding environment. And this one is going to look and feel like you're in Washington, D.C. So it's going to be beautiful, and really a place that feels good, that you want to bring people into, to come together. And again, this is really for everybody. We want everybody to come in there, to be a part of the programming, to be a part of hanging out, to bump into each other at the coffee machine. We always have a bar. I'm Canadian. We always have a bar, a place where people gravitate to. So please come, make this your home.
Well, I think on that note, we need to tie it up. Maybe we can play the video.
Yeah, it'd be great to show that if you could. And can you play the other one, please? Thanks.
children see through hopeful eyes. Hope for a few more minutes to play. Hope for exciting adventures. And when in need, hope that a hero will always come to their rescue. So when a child gets seriously sick, it's up to us to fight for the world that they believe in. To be the superheroes who ensure hope triumphs over fear. Johnson & Johnson Innovation is at the forefront of that fight, helping to build a better future for the next child battling cancer, fighting the flu, or facing the need for surgery. But we're not in this fight alone. We're committed to supporting innovators all over the world. The warriors working on life-saving vaccines, innovative devices to make tough surgeries more successful, and convincing the world to listen. And soon, we'll have a new place in the heart of Washington, D.C., where innovators from every discipline will convene to build a better world for our children. The new JLABS at Washington, D.C., together with Children's National, will call upon all those who want to make a difference for our health. In recognition of this, Johnson & Johnson Innovation JLABS announces the JLABS at Washington, D.C. Children's Quickfire Challenge. Visionaries within the fields of pediatric oncology, pediatric surgery, and influenza are invited to apply for a total of up to $150,000 in grant funding, a year-long residency at JLABS at Washington, D.C., and mentorship from across the Johnson & Johnson family of companies. Let's help the next generation of innovative superheroes take flight so that our children can grow up stronger.
Well, come join us in Washington, D.C. And I just can't say enough about Melinda Richter, her vision, energy, and inspiration. I think she and her company are terrific partners for all of us. So thank you for your being here, for your talk, for your partnership and friendship.
Well, you know, I just want to say one last thing. So to all of you who are innovating for our babies and our children, you are superheroes. I am so excited to work with you in any way, and I wish you the very best of luck in your journey. And just remember, I came into the life sciences with no science degree, with no medical degree. I grew up at the end of a little dirt road with absolutely nothing. And look what I did. So imagine what you can do with everything that you have, with the background that you have, the education that you have, the connections that you have. Imagine what a difference you can make. And I just want you to know we're there to support you 150%. And I couldn't do it, and I couldn't be more inspired without the ultimate superhero, Dr. Newman. Thank you for your vision, for your incredible work and tenacity. You talk about what it took for me to get JLABS done. It was you and Kalale. I mean, you really, I can't say enough about your passion and your undying love for this mission. So thank you guys for everything you do for all of us. All right, let's party. Is there a party now? No.
Wherever you are.
All right, I think there's lunch.
All right, and just a reminder for the judges. So judges, you don't have to grab food right outside the door over here. There's a special lunch for you down the hall. So we're going to whisk you down the hall to the judging deliberation room where you have your own lunch and hopefully restrooms as well nearby. So just... judges, you can leave everything here. You can take your tablet with you or give it to our team who's coming around to collect them as well.
Yeah.
Where's the deliberation?
You can take it, actually. That's fine.
Okay. So, and Mark here in the front of the room, judges, is going to show us where the deliberation room is, so don't start walking until we're all walk together. Stop for a bio break.